Alright guys, this is Matt with Bromance Wargaming, here with Mr. Yoshi.
What's up?
And we're going to do a game, Tomb Kings versus Dark Elves at 3,000 points. Go through my list real quick. Got 20 Executioners, the Bloodrack Shrine that I converted, some Harpies, 20 Dark Shards with Standard and Musician, 2 Cold One Chariots, a Hydra, who is not yet on his base because he's too big for it. The Pegasus here is my Medusa proxy. I don't really have a second Drider thing to use as a Medusa. Got my Bunker that's got a level 4 of light, and she ended up with both of the magic missiles, Foz and Speed. A level 1 with the Dagger because I had 25 points left over and I wanted to see what it was going to do. That one has net. Got some Harpies back here. Got some 20 Blackguard with my BSB. It's got a 1-up armor save, the Ogre Blade. Got my Kraken. 20 more archers that are poised to get in this building. They're gonna they've got 2 level 1s of light. One's got time warp and one has light of battle. And then back here is that's my standard bearer for my Blackguard that's being glued right now. Mr. Yoshi, why don't you go through your army?
I have 10 Mighty Skeletal Warriors, a Necrosphinx, 3 groups of Carrion, 2 groups of Chariots. They both have standards. The painted one has a Flaming Banner.
Okay.
I have 48 Warriors, full command, sword and board. I have Ramotep the Visionary. He's given his rerollable armor to this Necrosphinx. I have my Tomb King, General Slife. He has 4 board, Glittering Scales, and a Firebane and a Great Weapon. I have Mumra, the Ever-Living, way back here with 10 warriors, a banner. I have a Light Wizard. He has Foz and Banishment. I have another Light Wizard. He has Speed of Light and Net. He has the Wand of add more magic dice.
Yeah.
1 dice. And this guy has the Spell Scroll. Mumra has a Power Stone. I have 10 more archers and a Necrosphinx, and I have Worm Surfers tunneling. And I also have Sepulchral Stalkers tunneling. And let's hope they do something remarkable. And the Casket of Souls.
Oh, there it is, hanging out and back in the back. Sir, good luck.
Good luck.
Alright, this is Matt. I got first turn, like a boss. Actually, Mr. Yoshi rolled a 1, so since I finished deploying first, I auto got first turn. These crossbowmen with the light wizards moved into the building. These crossbowmen did a swift reform because they were right at 10 inches, so they could reform 5 inches and then move in. So they're right there. Everything else did a slow move up, except for, and the Hydra found out that was a wildwood and then took some wounds, which I realize now he needs to do his, when one head is severed, another takes its place. Both of them. Thank you, Mr. Hydra. I appreciate your awesome new regen rule very much. In Magic, I got 9 dice to 6. I threw 4 dice and got like a 20 something, like a 23. So he let it go because he didn't want to waste his scroll right away. And I glassed those guys. I netted Mumra's unit in the back, but he dispelled it with his dice. And then I cast Speed on the Hydra. That's the other thing I did. 1 last dice, just kind of wasting it. Shooting, I put 1 wound on the Mark 1 Necrosphinx, and I got more hits on the Mark II, but I failed to wound it. And then I didn't wound any Carrion when I shot with my chariots. So that's my turn 2. Let's see how Mr. Yoshi, or that's my turn 1 rather. Let's see how Mr. Yoshi responds.
End of Tomb King turn 2.
1.
1? Alright, we charged with the Necrosphinx into Executioners. I did a rock load of kills. They're steadfast. That's about as good as I could hope for. Charged Carrion into the building. They died. I killed 2.
Yep.
I probably should have moved the casket into the forest for the cover save, but I planned to bubble Desert Wind, but it was the spell scrolled.
Yes, it was.
The rest of my magic was ineffective. I moved up, and shooting was ineffective, and that's Tomb King turn 2, and we're about to watch a whole bunch of stuff die.
Still Tomb King 1.
Tomb King 1.
Yep. Alright, get back to you guys in a second. Alright guys, my turn 2. The Charybdis made an 8-inch charge into the Necrosphinx. The chariots went into the first Carrion, and you can see how that worked. One got into the second set of Carrion. My Hydra came up to block that flank charge, because I've been flank charged before and didn't like it. My Blackguard got out of the Wildwood, which did so many wounds to my Hydra. And when I reformed, over here last turn I left a corner for my Blood Rack to get into. You can see what we did. The Blood Rack did 1 wound on impact hits, and the Executioners did like 3 wounds. They made up for their failure to wound last turn, and just everything, we killed it before it got to strike. So that's looking good. Pretty much you can see where everything moved around over here. My stuff just in the backfield. Remember that this is a Medusa, not a Pegasus guy. Anyway, in Magic I got off Bubble Foz, which actually kept the Necrosphinx from hitting me at all on the Charybdis. And it hopefully will make my Blackguard a little bit harder, you know, if he planned on attacking me, which it doesn't look like he's going to because I blocked him. But whatever, I Fozed. He stuffed the rest of my Magic phase. In shooting, the big news is I killed the Casket of Souls. I hit a lot of hits and got just exactly 3 6s. And things are looking pretty grim for the Tomb Kings right now. But it's Tomb King's turn 2 next, and his stuff gets to come in. His Entombed Beneath the Sand stuff gets to come in, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah? Oh, sorry. Tomb King, turn 2. Stalkers and the Worm Surfers popped up.
Yeah.
Movement was inconsequential, except for me thinking, man, I'll be just clever and move these guys out of the way so they can go do stuff later. But I left open a nice avenue for them to get into my wizard bunkers.
Yep. And I needed like a 10 or more a second time, and that chariot delivered with an 11, so there he is in some wizards.
Caused a panic test of the...
oh, which I didn't take, actually. And they're 9, because they're close to the Blood Rack.
Yay, pass.
Yes, it's a 5.
Magic was... Cast Vengeance. Got him down to 3 less movement.
And I used my last arcane item that's 1 use. I used the Scroll of Shielding, which we decided was going to give me the ward saves versus the Dangerous Terrain tests.
The Stalkers wounded themselves, destroyed a body, and killed the Hydra.
Yes.
And that's my turn, and it's going to be a turn 3 mop-up operation.
Yes. In case we didn't mention it, this is Blood and Glory. I know that may make a little bit of difference, but... So he's got 1 standard on the chariots, and 1 standard back there. So things are looking grim, but we'll see what happens. So this is the bottom of Dark Elf turn 3, and as I survey the battlefield, you can tell that there's some bad stuff happening. So the Stalkers came up, or the Surfers came up, and I pulled my Medusae out of their charge arc and in to shoot them. I did like 4 or 5 wounds. My people in the building shot at them as well, which put them down to 2 guys, one of which had a wound. Over here, I charged and killed 2 chariots. That chariot charged in and did a ruck of kills and actually popped that unit. My Charybdis actually came in and did like 9 wounds, and so we popped Mumra, so there's no more magic left. The Tomb King started crumbling, putting some wounds on stuff. And the Blackguard stayed where they were after slaughtering the Stalkers because they didn't want to take wounds from the Vengeance spell. And the biggest crumble was just over here. He killed all but 2 of those skeleton warriors that my Executioners were facing off against. So things are looking pretty bleak on the end of turn 3. We'll see what's happening when he's done with turn 3, although it may not be a very fun thing for him. Alright, so this is just, we went ahead and made this the last turn, turn 3, even though technically it wasn't. He double charged the Blackguard in the butt and in the front with the Snake Surfers and his Death Star. And they totally annihilated me. My BSB was left alive. He had a 4 rerollable, and he failed, so he exploded. Those guys kind of hung out there and did nothing because there's nobody left for them to pursue. And the reason we called the game is because of the Blackguard, and he had a champion in the Snake Surfers. When I did enough wounds, the Snake Surfer banner died, which left him only 1 banner back here in the back facing a Charybdis and a chariot. So once I kill those, he has the banner in the Death Star and his general for 3, but at 3,000 points, that's not enough, and he's going to break. So ultimately, that's where the game ends. A crushing victory for the Dark Elves, because for the rest of the game, even if we continue to play, I would just run away from the King Star and probably just throw a bunch of magic at it and speed bumps and never fight it. But that's not really fun to do, so we're going to try and get in another game. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the battle report. Again, crushing victory to the Dark Elves because they are awesome. They are 3 for 3 this weekend, and hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
So, recapping the battle versus Tomb Kings versus the Dark Elves. I think the key moment was being a little too aggressive on the first turn, hoping to get the powered up Desert Wind to move the Necrosphinx that was faced squared off against the Kraken to be out of his front arc and range. And likewise, I moved up the Carrion to be hopefully to Desert Wind them and be on the nuts of the Chariots. And that just didn't pan out for me. This building was awful for me. I don't think I could have. Maybe if I would have just shot at them every turn, I could have eventually killed them, but not after they did their damage. That's my feelings.
Do you have changes to your list because of that?
No. My key problem is I'm doing too much. I need to have both Necrosphinxes just together.
Gotcha.
To do that. Maybe together they can take out a Kraken, but thus far the Kraken's been 0 for like 100 against anything.
Yes, he is verily the man.
What did I kill him with yesterday?
Shooting?
Shooting? Sure.
You also have killed him once with the explosion of the casket.
Ooh. Nah, I don't even remember that. That's a lie. But other than that, it's just a hard matchup here. The Dark Elves have so many tools in their belt that, I mean, not every army has stuff that attacks initiative, gives leadership buffs, high strength, good magic. You're covering every phase.
Yeah. It's okay, though, because the Bloodrack Shrine is a terrible unit and nobody should ever use it ever.
Good.
Yeah.
Take it out of your list.
Nah. Alright.
Dark Elves. Thoughts?
Well, my first couple games with Light Council, have to admit, loved it. I think that Banishment is a good spell, and I think that the rest of the spells are really complementary to Dark Elves, except for Time Warp. Except Time Warp is really good on the monsters. And so it's hard for me to say that. I just didn't cast it. Most of the time I was magic missiling stuff because my core troops are better than Tomb King core troops. And so if I could win the Chaff War, I was going to win the rest of the war. So overall, Light Council I thought was very nice. Definitely the scroll on the first turn Desert Wind was huge. That just let me make sure that I had the matchups. I had the Chariots in the center of the table, that I could get into the backfield. I had the Charybdis on the possibility of getting into the Necrosphinx, and I had shots at the Necrosphinx if that failed. And then really second biggest thing was, I think, holding the Necrosphinx up with the Executioners, because it allowed my Bloodrack Shrine, which again is a terrible model and nobody should ever take it, even though it's one of my MVPs. That and the Charybdis are always some of my best models. To get into the Executioner combat and just do a bunch of wounds. I mean, it did a wound with impact hits, it gave me more attacks, and it was just a good call. Good call on them holding on the Leadership 10. Again, nobody should ever take the Bloodrack Shrine because that 6-inch bubble is sure terrible, but the Executioners love it. And then really, after that, things were just my way. I was in his backfield, killing stuff, taking banners. And realistically, I know that when the book first came out, I was really down on Medusa, and I was down on the Bloodrack Shrine, honestly. But the ability of them to move, the Shrine can move 10, the Medusa can move 7, and then they have 12-inch range and Ballistic Skill 5 to shoot things. Their shots are really effective at clearing your backfield. The game that we didn't report, I want to say I did 7 wounds in one turn to the Snake Surfers. My shooting, big units of crossbowmen are actually getting my vote over multiple smaller units of crossbowmen. The number of shots at a single target for some reason just makes more sense to me. I was also aided by the large buildings that we had, 3-story and 4-story. But realistically, I really feel like on the second turn when I had good charges and was in the backfield, I was just set up to win. That was also the turn I killed the casket. But as far as my list goes, I could drop the dagger and the Medusa and get another chariot. Chariots are always really good, but the Medusa has been really clutch for me. 90 points, little chaff thing. It's hard for me to pass up. And
there's not that many fast-moving ambushing or fast initiative ambushing units in the game.
Yeah, and like we were talking about, even initiative 3, it's strength 4, so it's still wounding them on 3s. It's hitting them a lot of times on 2s or 3s. It's just, and it's not bad as again, it's 90 points. It's 15 more points than my Harpies, so I don't really care if I have to use it to redirect away from the general. So overall, I mean, I think my list is pretty solid. I'm not really going to change anything, even though I'd like Warlocks, but I don't have the models. And I'll cry a little bit.
Oh.
Yep. But I mean, I had a good time. It was a fun game, but it was pretty one-sided, as the battle report shows. So I hope that Mr. Yoshi enjoyed it, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it.